It's my second time trying to record this. Let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets have been NBA media and Twitter's darling recently. You know, they just finished up a 12-game winning streak. Ended compliments of my Bulls. 6-1 against the top 3 seeds, but 0-5 against the bottom 5. Gotta love Chicago. But I'm not here to do the Bulls thing again. I think when you talk Brooklyn, you just have to start with Jacques Vaughn. The way defensively and from a locker room perspective he's turned this team around has just been so much fun to watch. If he isn't at least top 3 in your Coach of the Year candidates, you have not watched the Brooklyn Nets this season. I think how during the offseason, KD was like, trade me or fire Steve Nash. And the Brooklyn Nets were like, we're not gonna fire Steve Nash. And then 6 games into the season, they're like, all right, Kevin, you were right. We'll fire Steve Nash. They were bottom 5 at defense before the coaching change, and now I think they're number 3 or number 5. Rusty Buckets made a video on it, but they are switching like madmen, and it is working. The clip that like really sold me on this Nets team was their win the other night in Toronto before Kyrie's game winner. It was Jacques Vaughn drawing it up in the like timeout, and then KD goes, nah, like give this shot to Kyrie, because he originally drew it up for KD. And you can just tell, like, from that conversation and from that clip that the players are bought into him and he's buying into them. The vibes in Brooklyn just seem so much better now than they did last season. Kevin Durant, I think he might be my hero. I think he also might be tied with Steph for my least favorite player to watch play the Bulls. Last night against the Bulls, he ended the second half with this like crazy falling shot, followed up by an and 1-3, and what should have been an and 1-3. And then at the end of the buzzer, he hit another like crazy falling shot and then started the second half with a 3. And I was just, Kevin, can you please calm down, man? The numbers won't be exactly accurate anymore, but there was like a Jackson Lloyd tweet that came out the other day that said Kevin Durant is shooting like 63% from 2 this season, and only 12% of those shots are coming at the rim. He is my sleeper pick for MVP, and I understand he's not like a sleeper pick because he's been considered top 6, but like when people talk about the top 6 MVP candidates, I feel like they consistently talk about him winning at the least. And to me, I feel like he has the best chance. Like at this point, after his injury and after last season and the injuries he even dealt with then, are we sure that anything will stop Kevin Durant from scoring? It seems like each year he just finds tougher ways to put the ball in the basket. Nets are feeling good about how that Royce O'Neal trade worked out, huh? Remember when Kevin Durant was like, I would like a trade. And then Woj was like, oh yeah, by the way, the Brooklyn Nets are trading their 2023 first round pick for Royce O'Neal. NBA Twitter was eating them up, but he's been hooping. I feel like NBA fans kind of throw around the 3-and-D label a lot. They just kind of give it to any player who can play, who could do either of those things like respectably. Royce O'Neal is like a true 3-and-D player. He's shooting 43% from 3 this year. I think that might be totally wrong, but he has been amazing for Brooklyn, and he's been a perfect fit for what they needed. Can I talk about Yuta Watanabe now? Man, he loves jumping for them dunks. He loves going with them. And I got no problem with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'd say it's commendable to get killed by Anthony Edwards on live television and then still try and block every dunk. Oh man, he just goes for him, and he's awesome. I'm glad that he found like a consistent home in Brooklyn and that he's getting a consistent role too. I kind of want to say that Brooklyn's kind of like the Isle of Misfits of the NBA, you know? They just have a bunch of players that like teams weren't really that interested in, or the general opinion was kind of negative. There wasn't really any interest in Yuta Watanabe before the season. Royce O'Neal was not a negative asset, but not that highly valued of an asset. And who was talking about like Edmund Sumner before this season? It's kind of funny that Brooklyn's like 2 most successful seasons have been their whole ragtag identity of like yeah, we're here. You don't know us, but you're going to. So what's stopping Brooklyn from winning the title, you know? What is it? At minimum, I think we can all agree this is not a first round exit anymore, at least not a sweep anymore. But what stops Brooklyn from winning the title this year? The only thing that I can think of is, and it was showed a lot against the game in Chicago last night, is they don't really have any size. Nick Claxton has been awesome this season. When I talk about like they don't have any real size, I'm talking about like literal size. Last night when the Bulls realized that the Nets had nobody to guard Vooch, he just started feasting and the Bulls ran away with the game. They literally just kept giving the ball to Vooch in the post, and he was getting ridiculously easy hook after ridiculously easy hook. I guess you could sit there and say, well, who cares if Vooch gives us 24 in the middle of January? And to that point, you're right. But if you can't stop Nikola Vucevic, how do you plan on stopping Giannis or Joel Embiid? Maybe they make a deal for the darling of the deadline, aka Jakob Poeltl, you know? Everybody wants a piece of that Jakob Pertl pie, and maybe Brooklyn goes for him. Cam Thomas, some salary filler, and whatever draft capital you have left. That's your New Year's resolution, Brooklyn. Trade for Jakob Pertl. Peace.